Welcome to another edition of the GO Show here on News Channel Nebraska and Columbus News Team. Thank you for joining us through whatever medium you're joining us on, whether that be SoundCloud, YouTube, columbusnewsteam.com, whatever it is. We got a couple of good guests coming up later. Brandon, you're with us shortly. Brandon, say what's up.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be back.
Absolutely. I'll get my headphones here on all the way. And then coming up after the break, we're going to this beginning segment's going to be kind of short, but we're talking with Central Community College volleyball coach Mary Young and former Iowa State wide receiver Justin Coleman a little bit later. So a good little show coming up. But to start off, we're going to talk a little bit of conference basketball. We got conference basketball coming up next week. And, you've kind of been forefront, kind of looking at all that stuff already. I probably won't glance at most of this stuff until we get into next week, kind of full-faced with it, but we're looking at Scotus a little bit. What's kind of the I would imagine they're the favorite going in here, but I know they do have a tough conference, and it seems like they kind of lucked out on their side of the bracket. They don't have quite as hard of a road to get to the finals, but what's the conference tournament look like for them?
Well, as I pull up my handy-dandy email here from Jeff Anuka, he sent me the Centennial Conference bracket, and Scotus, number 1 seed, currently because of power points. You have Bishop Neumann, which is on the opposite end of the bracket. Now, Scotus starts off with a game against the winner of Lincoln Christian Boys Town. Those are the number 8 and number 9 seeds. Their first game is Tuesday at 7:45 in the Dowd Activity Center. Now, we're looking ahead at potentially broadcasting this contest, and everyone has their things circled on the championship, which we hope is Bishop Neumann Scotus, both Class C1 teams, both undefeated, both which have actually cracked the all-class rankings for the Omaha World Herald. That is on Saturday at Lincoln Christian at 6 p.m., and that would be a great game to broadcast should that happen. And if the cards fall the way you think they would, Scotus number 1, Bishop number 2 seeds, they should clash in the final.
Well, you obviously don't root against any team, but I guess it's more of a fan perspective and just calling a game perspective. Being able to call a game like that is definitely something we would be excited about, and hopefully I can come. I might have that football reunion coming out at UNO that weekend, so hopefully things line up correctly, especially if those two teams. Otherwise, trusty old Andy Wolf, who we talked to last week, will hopefully fill in as well. Anything else with that one, or is that, I guess, coming from the other side of the bracket, Wahoo Newman might have to face, St. Cecilia and a couple of those other talented teams, right?
Well, the other local team's Aquinas Catholic. They're the 6th seed, and Newman would play the winner of Aquinas St. Cecilia, and that game's also on Tuesday at 7:45. So David City coming in at number 6. They are the only other, really, I guess you'd say, local team in our area. So you got Scotus and Aquinas to root for. Yeah,
Aquinas, a decent team this year too. Not by any means a bad team, but they're going to have a tough road, and they could make it to the finals as well. They have that shot, but if you look just at records, Newman definitely and Scotus a little bit stronger coming out of the field. Looking at Lakeview, what can we? I don't know if we'll be able to see them or not. I don't think we'll be broadcasting live, but just kind of for people to follow what's going on with them.
Yeah, Lakeview's on the road. They're the number 9 seed in the Central Conference Tournament, so they are in the play-in game. That one's Monday, January 25th at 7 o'clock. They go against number 8 Central City. Now, the winner of that, it's the unfun task of playing top-seeded Aurora on Tuesday, and that's 7:45. And Lakeview, should they win, they're always going to be on the road because being the 9th seed, they're going to be the lowest seed all the way through the tournament. And the championship game, if Lakeview makes it, is at Northwest in Grand Island. That's a 6 p.m. tip on the 30th.
Very good. It'll be, hopefully they can perform well and kind of put some things together and make a nice little run there in the conference tournament. You, on another note, outside of conference tournament, Coach's Corner is something you kind of been toying with, something new this year for basketball, I guess, not in a plug standpoint, but can you give us a little update on what's going on with Coach's Corner and maybe just kind of keep people informed on where they can find you and what's going on with that?
We're on the boys basketball rotation right now. About every 2 weeks to 3, I go out and kind of get an updated refresher on how the boys teams are doing. Of course, Scotus, the strong team in town right now, undefeated. Coach Anuka, very pleased with his team, very athletic, as we all know. Anybody can score, and they're chugging right along in Class C1. Jimmy Moats, of course, first year with the Discoverers in Class B. They've had some injuries that they've had to overcome, putting some young guys into the starting lineup because of that, but playing some great games. Aurora, we just talked about, the number 1 seed in that Central Conference tournament, just went to the wire, lost by 6 points against them this weekend, and when your Columbus has a lot less wins than them, that was a pretty positive. So Jimmy Moat's doing some nice things with the Discoverers, and of course Lakeview, and another new head coach and Coach Roth working their way around as well, about the 4 or 5 win mark, I believe, right now, working for improvement. But positive things by all teams. All the coaches really enjoy Coach's Corner. So I guess to answer your question, there's not really a strict schedule. We just did our last broadcast last week, and so probably about 2 weeks' time, we'll have a new one up on the website and the channel.
Well, I enjoy it, so it's always might as well spread the word on what's going on with it, just in case people are curious. Yeah, absolutely. We are going to have to go to break here because we got kind of some, I assume we're going to be some longer segments here coming up. But Brandon, thanks for coming on, at least for
always a pleasure.
A short period of time. Absolutely, it's fine. Columbus Any News, Brandon, you're actually going. We're recording this on Wednesday, so you're heading out to Central basketball tonight. I
am. Central actually having a pretty decent year as opposed to last year, so they had a big break because of the holiday tournaments, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that. So they're getting back in action. They have 4 games in a row at home, so we'll be getting a lot of Central Community College highlights on the website.
That'd be good, yeah. So make sure you go check those out. Columbus Any News on Twitter. Trivia question of the week we'll post on Facebook, so you just need to go check it out there, and you can take a guess. It's always fun, even just to kind of throw out a shout out and test your Columbus sports knowledge. So be sure to get on there. The Players to Watch segment will roll over to next week because of our Thursday game. We're going to Scotus Boone Central, so because of that game, it's just kind of a funky week. So we're going to check out some CHS boys basketball players. I won't tell you who, but we're going to go check them out next week. So thank you for tuning in again to another episode of the GO Show. We'll be back after a break with Coach Mary Young, and then about 10 minutes we'll be in with former Iowa State wide receiver Justin Coleman. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Grant Otten. Brandon Aksamit, again, thanks for the short period. We'll be right back here in a little bit.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the marketing director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We're obviously a locally owned bank, but we're also a bank that's very involved.
The most important thing is when you walk in the front door, everybody knows your first name. We are small town banking with all the modern conveniences.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
Ever wonder where those mysterious spots and stains come from? Call your local Heaven's Best carpet and upholstery cleaning technician. You can enjoy life, and we'll clean it up.
Heaven's Best Carpet Cleaning, the cleanest carpet you'll ever see.
Heaven's Best. You've tried the rest, now try the best. Call George at 402-564-9060 or on the web at columbusne.heavensbest.com.
Welcome back to the GO Show here on News Channel Nebraska and Columbus News Team. I got a fun guest next, Mary Young, head coach of CCC Volleyball. I get to see you quite often during the season, but right now we're in the off season. How are things going?
They're going really well. Thanks, Grant.
Well, and I know you guys are busy right now, and I guess you're in the midst of recruiting season. And I guess a big question for me is, you guys, obviously a 2-year college, how important is it for you to go through this recruiting process and I guess to be successful in this recruiting process?
Well, recruiting really is the name of the game at our level, and we want to make sure that we get athletes in that are well prepared and that can, obviously if they can contribute right away, because we have them for such a short amount of time. And volleyball is such a different sport. It starts right away in the fall, so it's not like you can really work with them for a long period of time and really get them ready for a few weeks. You have about 2 to 3 weeks to get them ready, and then you're really into the heart of your season from the start, and it moves fast. So, really, it's really important with that recruiting game. And now in the spring, our freshmen, we really start working at fine-tuning maybe some of the things that we've seen that really need to make them better, going into their sophomore season. So we maybe start to correct a lot of poor habits and using muscle memory to do those things. So it is really important for us to, get those athletes that we think can contribute right away, so then we're ready to really, be successful, right from the start.
Yeah, that freshman class really move into your to the sophomore level and to kind of basically before they head out. You guys have a big class, and we'll get to those sophomores that left here in a little bit. But looking at this future sophomore class, what are your thoughts on them? And do you think you have a strong nucleus of them coming back?
We do. I mean, we will return, obviously, Riley Dorn at setter. And anytime you return your setter, that's just such a critical piece. It's like returning your point guard or returning your quarterback. And that's just so critical to have a seasoned setter. And we knew having her come in as a freshman, she'd had great experience. And so that was really helpful for us as someone who'd seen some success and set a lot of ball and played at a high level. So that was important for us to get her as a freshman. But going into her sophomore season, that's such a plus having that sophomore setter, and that's a great advantage for us. And we have Keisha Elwanger that played outside hitter for us, and really kind of battled with Emma Kanan, another freshman, throughout the season. And those two will return for us, and they really have tons of potential. Keisha just jumps so well, and she's very athletic, has a high hand, and really can play middle or outside very effectively, and really played well for us, especially towards the month of October and into November. And then just the same, Emma played real well for us early, and Keisha kind of won that battle between the two of them, and Emma just has so much strength that this spring season will be so key for her, and we're really excited about the both of them and what they'll bring to our squad. So that's really exciting. We also returned Sid Young, Kit Wells at defensive specialist, and they of course had great years too. For Kit that came from a smaller school, and maybe that learning curve was just a little bit more just to get the speed of the game and learn in a different position. But she really played well for us and serves well. And Sid Young from Millard West, same way. She just played right back for us all year, and we just look for them to have a great spring that can lead right over into the fall.
Well, and looking back at this past year, I guess we'll talk about the seniors again, here in a second. But not seniors, sophomores, excuse me. When you look at November, did you expect some different results? Obviously, you go in wanting to win a national championship, but are you happy with how the team went with just that small group of sophomores that you had?
Well, I think we were excited, and we were really happy. Just looking back on the season, I think at this point a year ago, I think there were probably some people out there that doubted us and just thought, really, what are they going to be able to do? They lost such a tremendous class of athletes, and what are they going to be able to do? And I knew all along that we could end right back up in Arizona, and I really felt that the minute we ended in Arizona, I knew we could be back. And I really have to give it to those four sophomores because they worked hard. They really worked hard, and I had Keely Woods who played a lot of setter, backup setter as a freshman, and she switched to right side hitter, and that was kind of a new position for her, and she did very, very well for us. And Hillary Teggy had limited time on the court as a freshman, and she just worked so hard in the off season, so hard in the summer that was probably the most gratifying thing for me, to see her really excel and to do so well on the court. And Morgan and Peyton the same way, just worked well, and just we got back there, and when you get back there, you want to play for that national tournament or national title. And after the first win, we weren't really happy with how we played necessarily. We swept our first opponent. We played Glendale as kind of we thought a revenge match because they beat us the year before and really weren't supposed to. And we thought, well, this will be the year we turn the tables. And we got beaten 3 close sets, and even after reviewing the film, we were right there. We get a couple more things to go our way, and it certainly could have been different in the end. And quite honestly, Glendale, they played very well against us, and I'm not so sure they played probably their best match at the tournament against us, which not so lucky for us, but great for them. when you look back, we finished 8th. We felt we were probably a top 5 team. And so, that's a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth. But at the same time, 8th out of over 100 teams at our level is awesome. And so we can't lose sight of that. And there's nothing wrong with having high standards. We have high standards here. And so, we have to just keep reminding ourselves that 8th is really great. And I got the privilege of working with 11 awesome young women every day. And not everyone gets to say that.
Looking back still, do you think if you had to give out a most improved award, and you kind of touched on this, do you think that would go to Teggy and how she kind of improved over the year?
Yeah, I think hands down, Teggy would be our, most improved. She just, she worked hard every day. She always wanted to know what she could do better and how she could get there, and she put a little pressure on herself to get to perform and to execute, and she took a lot of pride in that work, and I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, I thought she improved immensely over the season, and it was fun to watch her. Talking about another one of those great players, and Morgan Nicola, we're not going to touch on as much, but she had an awesome year. Keely Woods, they both had great years. Peyton Shohan, she was kind of a staple of the team this year, and what is it like to have players like that kind of come through your program as a coach and be able to kind of help develop them as they move along with their career?
Yeah. Peyton, no doubt about it. Peyton was our go-to player, and everyone at the national tournament knew that if they could stop number 9, they'd have a chance. And I guess it's no secret Peyton played so well at the national tournament. She really had some great matches, and I think she turned a lot of heads there, and she was really playing well at the end of the year. And to have her in our program, that was really fun for me. And I've known Peyton since she's been pretty young, and so also really gratifying to see her really grow and mature, and she'll go on to the next level, and she'll be wonderful. She'll play great.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to kind of see how she develops going on to this next level. Well, Coach, appreciate you joining me here for a little bit to talk a little bit Raider volleyball.
Awesome. Thanks, Grant.
All right, you have a good rest of the week.
All right, you too. Am I off the air now?
Not yet. Not yet. You're going to be off in just a second. We're actually going to go to a break. We'll be right back after this. That is Coach Mary Young joining us here. News Channel, Nebraska Columbus News Team. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the marketing director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We're obviously a locally owned bank, but we're also a bank that's very involved.
The most important thing is when you walk in the front door, everybody knows your first name. We are small town banking with all the modern conveniences.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
Ever wonder where those mysterious spots and stains come from? Call your local Heaven's Best carpet and upholstery cleaning technician. You can enjoy life, and we'll clean it up.
Heaven's Best Carpet Cleaning, the cleanest carpet you'll ever see.
Heaven's Best. You've tried the rest, now try the best. Call George at 402-564-9060 or on the web at columbusne.heavensbest.com.
Welcome back to the GO Show here on News Channel Nebraska and Columbus News Team. That was Mary Young, our previous guest, head coach of the Raiders Central Community College. She said Peyton and Teggy both signed. Peyton's going to Rockhurst University and Teggy going to Mount Marty College, so congratulations to them. Keely Woods as well, going to be going somewhere once she kind of gets things settled down. But right now, we got another guest on the line, and pretty excited to have this guy on, a former Iowa State and UNO wide receiver, former teammate as well, Justin Coleman. Coleman, what's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot. How you been?
I've been good, man. What you been up to? What's going on in the world of J. Cole?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just keeping busy, trying to find my way in the real world now that I don't have someone bossing me around, telling me when I got to lift weights.
Hey, That's a good thing. It's kind of a little bit of what we're talking about today. So with your college football background, and we've both been to multiple colleges, but I always like hearing other sides of things. I don't know, did you see Randall L., former Steelers wide receiver and quarterback out of Indiana? Did you see his little thing that he put up about? It was about.
Yeah, I just saw that on Sports Center, and I'd seen it this morning, and he was the quotes that I saw were just kind of him talking about if he could go back and do it again, he would play baseball.
Yeah.
But then I also just read that he was said something about how he didn't think there was even going to be football in the next 20 or 25 years.
Yeah.
So I think that might be going a little far, but
no,
I think
it's a good gist of what the article is about, though. Yeah, I think the 25 years might be a little bit far, too. I don't know.
I hope not. I like football too much for that.
Yeah, I do, too. Well, that's kind of so if you're looking at something like that, now, people range in different as far as like your injuries from football. And now I don't remember the source I got this from, but I remember reading a long time ago that somebody who plays football all the way through 4 or 5 years of college, by the time they're done, their joints are 14 years older than they are. And I know that's how I felt by the time I was done playing college football. But what was your experience like as far as injuries and stuff? And can you kind of just talk about, I don't know, your career, your path for football?
Mm-hmm. As far as injuries go, I was super lucky. I never had anything serious, anything, detrimental to me missing games. I think maybe there was one game, I did get a concussion, but I was able to come back. I sat out for about a week or half a week of practice, and played part of that game. And then I also rolled my ankle and got rolled up on against Oklahoma. But other than that, I never had anything serious. But there's definitely that toll over, like you said, the 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. And I even know a couple guys that played 6 years. They got a medical red shirt and redshirted and then played 4. I don't think I would have made it another year, quite honestly. But, yeah, it's just the wear and tear of things with how much cutting. Football's so violent, it's not comparable to anything else. The change of direction on your joints, the sprinting, and then obviously hitting each other. It takes a toll over time. So, but yeah, I was lucky enough to not have anything too serious happen to me. Just the wear and tear.
Yeah, when I think back to after I kind of and I don't know that I would have been able to make it another year either. I saw that semester of college after I was done with football, and I was still that whole semester. So waking up some mornings, like my knees were just too stiff, my ankles were locked up. I'd have to walk around for like 20 minutes in the morning before I went to class because it was just, I was just so tight and my joints were sore.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably took me about a year and a half, I think, before I was fully kind of back to maybe, I don't know if back to normal, but a little more healed up. Did you have kind of that recovery process at all after you were done with football where your body just was still a little bit sore from the 4 or 5 years of kind of just continual pounding and everyday practice?
Yeah, and even still today, there's a few little things, some different joints and some things that I actually got. I'd hit my knee one practice, and then that took me out a couple practices. But the muscle right there above my knee it's got a big dent in it, like the muscle was missing, like it ate away at itself. And just a few little tendon things that are still achy that I never had before. I remember going into college, I didn't even know really what stretching was.
Yeah,
I was like Gumby. I could just go out there and run full speed. And then, 5 years later, we're doing warm-ups for 30 minutes, which most people would probably think was the workout, but that was just what it took to get warmed up. So that was kind of the transition throughout the whole period there. Because honestly, I would, in high school, or even my first year of college, I'd run out there and I'd be ready to go. I was all lubed up, ready to go. And then by that fifth year, it was a process of getting ready. And then, like you said, it probably did take a year after. And I just wanted to get away from it for a while. So I didn't work out for probably a half the year after I found out that wasn't getting invited to a camp by anybody. So I just kind of sat it out and let myself heal up. But I'm definitely feeling better now with some of that rest time.
Yeah, and I'm curious too. For me, I played tight end. For those of you at home that don't know, I played tight end. Coleman played wide receiver, like I said earlier. But I know for me it was the knees. My knees were always sore. My ankles ran, and I rolled my ankle. It seemed like if I would have stepped on a rock, I rolled my ankle. But I that was kind of the big thing for me was knees, and I was always blocking and doing that kind of lineman stuff. So for a wide receiver position, you talked about your knees a little bit. Was it because of that cutting and that kind of stuff that really just kind of tore down over time, just continually having to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing for me is playing wide receiver, and I'm sure playing defensive back is pretty similar. In the trenches, you guys are banging on each other, so it's muscular work all the time. But with us, we're running so much. Fall camp my senior year, I was on all 4 special teams, and then starting at slot receiver, and they hooked a GPS up to me. And in 2 weeks of fall camp, I ran 72 miles. And that's about the equivalent of what someone on our cross-country team at Iowa State would run. Yeah. And the only difference is they weren't sprinting, and they weren't changing direction, and they weren't hitting each other. So just the combination of how much we were running, you can't keep on your weight and your strength when you're running that much. So that combination really is what ate away at. I'd work all off season to build up muscle, and then it'd be gone in no time.
Well, and I like that you brought that up with the 72 miles. Now, actually, and I've never really thought about what is the total mileage in sprinting that someone that. And granted, but much less for me, even though I was still running routes in the tight end position. But the conditioning for football, at any level, especially when you get to that college level, is extremely tough. Now, granted, I think you look at something like rugby, and that conditioning is just a whole nother level. But when you look at these different sports, that type of conditioning you need to be in, do you think there's any precaution, I guess, outside of stretching, that you can really do just to prevent that wear and tear? I mean, you're running 72 miles in 2 weeks. You might as well be running a marathon.
Exactly, yeah. And trust me, I'm not built for that. But no, you know what? Probably one of the biggest things that saved me was I did a lot of Pilates and yoga stuff, and that just kind of it replenishes your muscles. Obviously, drinking a lot of water and your overall nutrition, but Pilates and yoga really took care of my body. Because when you're feeling super sore, you've got to go in and you got to get that lactic acid out. So I did a lot of that and really learned to enjoy it a lot. At first, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and it's hard stuff. Both of them are, but those probably kept me alive through fall camp.
We're that and sitting in the cow tank that is the ice tub. We had I don't know what you guys had at Iowa State. Probably a little nicer. When I got to Wayne, we had the cold cow tank because it was just like a mass icing after fall camp practices.
Yeah, no, definitely. And they actually talked about, and I don't know how much difference it made, but they found a study our strength staff did that we should go back and forth between like cold and hot. I don't even remember what it was, but cause everyone would always used to get out and just go sit in the cold tub. But they had us start doing a thing where we go in cold hot for like a minute apiece. I don't know how much difference it made, but I mean it was really anything you could try and do to make yourself feel better because it's grueling. And I've always thought about wanting to go into the military. And to me, it's very similar type stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of things that are harder than in the military than in football. But a lot of similar type things, and it's just whatever you can do to get through. I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even in day to day, I don't ice as much, but every once in a while, if I go get a workout in, my knees don't quite last. I tried playing a little basketball at the Y with some of the kids that were still in college and high school, and tried being a little more explosive than I think I had properly warmed up for. And I had some weird looks when I was limping off the court after I did a little. You remember when I hyperextended my knee back at UNO? It was pretty similar to that.
I was just going to say I've seen that limp before. I can envision it right now.
It wasn't pretty, and I didn't look as I started out real well. I was doing some nice solid post moves, and then tried doing the little explosion on a stolen basketball, and it didn't end well. So
yeah, I haven't got on the basketball court for a while yet either, which is probably a good thing. That hard court can really show my knees who's boss.
Yeah, definitely need to get some good stretching in. Well, Coleman, I appreciate you coming on for a little bit and talking a little bit football. It's always good to catch up.
Yeah, it is. We'll have to stay in touch, and we can do some more catching up down the road.
Maybe a little more stretching too in our meantime. So
yeah, that would probably help both of us.
Well, that's Justin Coleman, Iowa State former wide receiver, as well as a UNO Maverick, and I'll hopefully see you here coming up in a week or so at that reunion. But appreciate him coming on. Thank you for tuning in to the Geo Show. We got to go. I'm running out of time, and we have to run commercials because that's the only reason I am allowed to get out here and talk on the microphone. So, Coleman, thank you for talking with me. I appreciate it. And
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Geo Show, Grand Mountain News Channel, Nebraska.